Whether you are someone that is returning for Season 3, for Early Access Season 3, and its rank system, now that the leaderboard has been open for about an hour as of now, or if you are a new player that came in off of the Steam wave, and you're somebody that's looking to try your hand at High Roller and Ranked to see what rank you can get, this video is for all of you. I'm going to go through what AP is, how to obtain rank, the easiest way to go about doing it, and why this season especially will be the easiest season that Dark and Darker has seen as of yet, and why there will be more people at the Demigod rank than any season before by a wide margin. Okay, so the AP system is broken up simply as what is called adventure points. Now, if we look at the details section underneath the leaderboard, we have solo, duo, and trio high roller through this dropdown, and then high roller EA Season 3 with the prior seasons listed before. If you click on this view details button, it gives you an idea of what the AP system entails, what the breakpoints are for each rank, and how much it costs for a cost of entry, broken out again by each different map type. So whether you play on Goblin Cave, the Frost Mountain, or Howling Crypts, each one has a slightly different amount of AP value depending on its rank. Now, if you notice, my character here is ranked as Neophyte 3. So if we go and look, we can see on the Goblin Cave, let's say, for instance, if I wanted to go in and play a round of High Roller, it would cost 0 AP, otherwise known as adventure points, to get into that dungeon. This means that if I were to die on my attempt as a Neophyte, I wouldn't lose any AP because there is no cost in doing so. But once I got to Apprentice 3, it would cost 25 AP to go in. So if I went in and died instantly, I would lose 25 points, which could potentially downrank me, because here are the breakpoints. 500 AP gets me Neophyte 2. 1,000 AP gets me to Neophyte 1, 1,750 is what breaks me into Apprentice 3, and so on and so forth, with eventually needing 36,000 AP in order to reach the rank of Demigod. And we don't know what the rewards are as of yet, but once they are able to list them, when they figured out what they're going to be, then we'll have these unlocked. In terms of what it is that you achieve and how you achieve it, you only gain the rank or are awarded the rank's rewards for the rank that you achieve at the point in time that the leaderboard ends. And what I mean to say with that is, let's say you had 36,001 points just getting you into Demigod and then decided to go into another round and lost, in which case you would lose 800 points, which would downrank you to Exemplar 1. You would only get the orange reward. You would not get Demigod. It's whatever rank you have at the moment in time that the leaderboard ends, which is an important thing to note. Everything that you do in the dungeon, for the most part, awards some amount of adventure points, some amount of AP. Now, there are things like killing monsters, opening treasure chests, picking up treasure and carrying it out of the dungeon, etc., that will award you with some amount of AP. There are some differences this season versus last season, though, and it is important to go through each thing. If you are a new player, you'll want to pay special attention to this section, especially because this will give you an idea of what it is that you want to target when you are on your runs in order to maximize the amount of AP that you get to make sure that you actually end up ranking up instead of breaking even, or what's even worse, you survive a dungeon run but lose points. Here's how it used to be. It used to be that things like armor, for instance, this open salad that it says looted status, or this crystal ball that says looted status, would give AP based on the squares that it took up and its rarity level, basically equivalent to whatever amount of money it would sell for. So if I went to the weaponsmith and put this up for sale and it said that it was 24 gold, let's say, this would be worth 24 AP. However, in this patch, that's not the case anymore. It doesn't do that. This image is how much AP that run that I just showed you was worth. The inventory that I have listed right here, that is this screenshot. This screenshot shows that I got 13 monster kills for 150 AP, which is new and different. My prop interaction, which was 18 props, which is treasure chests and shrines, for 82 AP. Item achieve of 31 items that was looted, including stacks of gold, etc., like I have here. But you'll notice that the item achieve now says 0, and then treasure was 10 treasure items for 139 AP. Now, what's different about this season is that prior the items that you were carrying, if you looted them, if they had looted status, they would be equivalent in AP under that item achieved category, equivalent to however much gold they would have sold for. That is no longer the case. Secondarily, there was also some bonus AP that applied to treasure based on its rarity that would give you anywhere between 2 and 5 points for each piece of treasure that you carried out as like a treasure bonus. That also doesn't apply. So the only things that really matter right now are looting treasure chests, killing lots of monsters, mini bosses and bosses if you can get to them, and carrying treasure out of the dungeon. Carrying items out of the dungeon is completely worthless now. Also, what is interesting is there is also no AP at all for PvP kills, where there used to be a considerable amount prior to now, about 100 AP on average per player kill. There is no award for player kills right now whatsoever. No incentive. Also, what is interesting is killing mobs awards more AP now than it ever has before. It used to be that a red quality mob was worth about 8 AP. Now a red quality mob is worth 10, and elite mobs that were worth 10 or 12 are now worth 15, 20, with the exception being the skull bats, which are still 8 and 12, but who cares? The point being is that for less mobs, you're getting more AP than you ever have before. Also, what is interesting is taking the red portal down into Inferno or down into the Ice Abyss is worth 100 AP now. Boss kills like the Cave Troll and Cyclops on High Roller are worth 150 AP each. The Frost Wyvern is worth 250, and the other 3 bosses on Inferno are worth 200 each. Way more than what they used to be. It should then come as no surprise that guys like Jay are pulling amounts of 2100 AP out of the dungeon for this. Notice the dungeon down portal showing 100 AP here. Now, the amount of AP needed between Exemplar 1 and Demigod is 4,000 points, which means that if Jay is netting 2,100 on an 800 AP buy-in, which is what this costs. If we look at Howling Crypts, 800 AP buy-in right here at Exemplar 1, that means that Jay has to do what he is doing right now. If he were Exemplar 1, he would have to do what he's doing right now 3 times as Exemplar 1, and he would be Demigod. That means that it's likely that him, Repose, and Promos will end up getting to Demigod this evening. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. To me, this looks as though one of 2 things is true, and I think it's the second one. The first one being that SDF and the gang ended up making this extremely simplistic and relatively easy so that the newcomers felt like they had some ability of achievement so that they could get Demigod and, I guess, feel relatively accomplished. But I don't think that that's necessarily true. The second one, the most likely one, is that the amount of AP that's being generated versus the cost to go in and the reward amounts and whatnot are a little bit off from what they had actually been planning on. See, because SDF had said in a podcast prior to now that, or on the Discord prior to now, that he didn't think that they wanted to include treasure rewards as AP value. They were going to just have treasure be something for money, and everything else was going to count. But instead, it ended up actually putting more pressure on treasure because it's one of the few things that you can do that's actually going to give you a big bolus of AP, especially now that carrying gear out of the dungeon and PvP kills don't matter at all. So if I were you, this is what I would do if I wanted to maximize my AP values. I would ignore Goblin Cave entirely. Yes, there's an extra added 100-point cost at Exemplar 1 to run Frost or to run Crypts, but that gets automatically offset by taking a red portal down into the hell levels of each one of those respective maps. Automatically gets offset. The potential to gain significantly more AP in opening treasure chests, killing significantly more mobs, and getting significantly more treasure is much, much, much higher. You will not see a 2,400 AP pull off of running Goblin Cave. Maybe you do, but it's much more likely that you would benefit significantly over time, much more significantly over time, running either Frost map or especially running Crypts. Crypts is kind of the map of choice for stuff like this. It's been kind of proven over and over again, and not for nothing, but the Frost mobs being what they are kind of a pain in the butt running the Frost map, especially when it comes to nightmare mobs and the mob density and the trains that you get off of that kind of stuff, unless you're a Warlock, in which case it should be easy mode. In fact, I'd be willing to bet that a Warlock in just starter gear could probably end up pulling Demigod, having never done or used any other piece of gear, because you don't really need it in order to be able to do big mob pulls and get a ton of AP as a Warlock. But that's really it. Ignore PvP, kill a bunch of mobs, take the down portal, loot every treasure chest and access every shrine that you find, and you will end up netting an absurd amount of AP. If they keep this way, there will be more demigods in this game than there have ever been in any season prior to this one. I have a feeling that this is something that's going to end up being modified. I think they will end up making this harder. I don't know why they still included treasure value AP. I feel like that may have been a mistake. So maybe they end up modifying it mid-season. So with that in mind, if I were you, I would get in there and try to reap the reward of as much AP as you possibly can, because I have a feeling this is going to change. Anyway, guys, that's what I have for this one. If you ended up enjoying the video, or you like the video, you like the content, please consider subbing the channel. It really, really does matter. For those of you that want to come by and check out one of my streams, I am live just about every single day around 5 to 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, every single day of the week. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for lending me your eyeballs. We'll see you soon, okay? Peace.